Welcome to iTTV 4 from 4 Science. The title of this lesson, Body Coordination. We're going to start chapter 2, which is called Body Coordination. Now, this word coordination basically means how different parts of the body work together so that everything, works better. Now, an example of coordination is, say for instance, if you're in a band. For example, if you were in a band and you were playing a song, like say Smoke on the Water, you would start with the guitar going tan, tan, tan. Then the drums would start going and the keyboards would start playing tan, tan, and then the singer would start singing. All of these music playing together is a coordinated effort by the band members to create a good song. Well, the same thing happens in our body. Whenever we do something, different parts of our body are all working together so that it works and functions correctly and is able to achieve its ultimate goal, whatever they may be. Maybe to digest food, walk to the shop and come back, do some homework, or play some sport. All of these efforts need body coordination. Body coordination, a process of harmonious actions of organs and systems in the body to produce coordinated response. So the two words here that are tricky that you need to understand is harmonious, which means happily. So all the parts of the body work happily together so that we get an effective and purposeful response. The response is what we actually do based on what we want, whether it is to hit a shuttlecock back over the net, or whether it's to take a bite of the burger that's sitting in front of us, or take a swig of the Coca-Cola that you were drinking. There are two systems involved in body coordination: the nervous system, the endocrine system. So our main focus on body coordination in this chapter are really these two systems, the nervous system and the endocrine system. Now, you would have heard of the nervous system in your lower secondary. This is the system that uses the nerves inside our body to send messages from one area to the brain, and then the brain will send messages back. The endocrine system is probably a bit newer to you. This system involves different organs or different glands in our body that release a chemical messenger called a hormone. The hormone then will go to a particular target organ where it will effect a particular response. Now, there are many hormones in our body and they are essential for a harmonious, coordinated response in our body. We'll talk more about the endocrine system in a later lesson and also later in this lesson as well. The nervous system. Rapid but short-lasting responses. Transmission of electrical impulses along nerve fibers. So this is the nervous system. It is short and sharp. So whenever we do something that needs a very quick response, our nervous system is the one involved. Our nervous system sends messages using electrical impulses. And because electricity moves very quickly, our responses are very quick. But the electricity cannot last in our body, so the effect of a nerve impulse is a very short time. Meaning that if you touch something and it feels cold, once you move your hand away, it doesn't feel cold anymore because the short response has finished. Activities coordinated by the nervous system: speech, senses, memory and thinking, voluntary and involuntary action. So these are things that are coordinated by the nervous system. Speech, talking. I'm talking to you now, and it's the speech area of my brain that's sending messages to my mouth and telling the muscles to contract and relax so that I create sound with my mouth. All of this is being coordinated by my nervous system. Thinking, I'm also thinking while I'm presenting this lesson to you. That is also being coordinated by my nervous system. Memory. Now, some of the material that I'm presenting to you comes from my memory of previous lessons. Once again, this is being controlled by the nervous system in my brain. Finally, voluntary and involuntary actions. A voluntary action, as we will discuss later on in a different lesson, is an action that I am aware of. Meaning, I am aware that there is a magnet on the table. So, I want to pick the magnet up and I can voluntarily control my muscles so that I pick the magnet up. That is voluntary. Involuntary is something that you cannot control. There are some systems or some functions in the body that must be running all day long and they cannot stop. If they stop, it could be fatal to you. Example, your breathing mechanism. Your chest expanding and your chest contracting to push air in and suck and push air out of your body. This is controlled by your brain. You have no control over this. You obviously can try to hold your breath, but after a while you will feel very peculiar and you will start to breathe very quickly. This is what we mean by involuntary. It is controlled by the nervous system and it's outside of your awareness. Most of the time, we don't even know we are breathing. The endocrine system. Slower and longer lasting responses. The secretion and transport of chemical substances. So this is how the endocrine system works. It works by secreting what we call a chemical messenger, better known as the hormone. There are many famous hormones: insulin, adrenaline, cortisone. All of these are hormones that run through our body that effect changes. Their effect is not for a short period of time. Their effect can be for a long period of time. Example, in the female body, the two hormones, progesterone and estrogen, keep running and increasing and decreasing from the age of 12 to about the age of 45 and affect what is known as the menstrual cycle, which is the natural cycle of a female every 28 days. Now, these hormones are coordinating the menstrual cycle not for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but like I said, for close to 30 years. So the effect of the endocrine system is much longer than the nervous system. The chemical messenger, the hormone, tends to travel through the body in the blood system. There are no special fibers like nerve fibers to carry the hormone from one place to another place. So it's totally dependent on the blood system to carry these hormones around. Activities coordinated by the endocrine system: growth, sexual maturity, glucose level in the blood, amount of water in the body. So these are some of the things controlled by the hormonal system or the endocrine system. Your growth, which is controlled by a hormone called the growth hormone. Your sexual maturity, or sometimes called your secondary sexual characteristics, something that you also did learn in your lower secondary. For males, this is controlled by the hormone testosterone. In females, by the hormones progesterone and estrogen. These control how you develop and mature from a teenager into an adult. So these are just some of the things controlled by the endocrine system. Define stimulus. Any change in the external or internal environment of an organism. So this is a stimulus, something that changes in or around you. Example, I'm standing here in a studio and I can detect when the lights become brighter or when the lights are turned on. The stimulus is an external stimulus. It's coming to me from the outside. And normally anything coming from the outside will be detected by my sense organs. The eyes, my ears, my skin, my tongue. Obviously the tongue not involved in the case of light, but my eyes and my skin definitely. My eyes will see the light and my skin will feel the heat. So these are external stimulus that my body is detecting, changes in the surrounding. And then I will respond to it. Maybe my iris will close a little bit because it's a bit brighter in here. Because it's a bit warmer in here, what might happen is my body may sweat a little bit to help it cool down. So an external stimulus is something that comes from the outside. But we also have stimulus that come from the inside, because something inside our body is not correct. Sometimes you may be sitting down and suddenly get a stomach ache. Well, that is an internal stimulus. Something is not right in your stomach. There might be too much acid in it, or there may not be enough food in it and you're craving for food. These internal stimulus are detected by the brain, and then there will be a response to it inside. Either you'll get up and go and get some food, or you'll go up and get some medicine for your upset tummy, something like that. So we have information from the outside, stimuli, and information from the inside, also called stimuli. Changes that occur outside the body of an organism. For example, light, sound, smell, taste, touch, temperature, and pressure. Changes that occur inside the body of an organism. For example, sugar level in the blood. So like we said, stimuli can be both external or internal. It just totally depends. You're going to find that mainly external stimuli are dealt with by the nervous system, and internal stimuli are dealt with by both the nervous system and the endocrine system. What is a response? A response is what the body does in reaction to a stimulus. So this is what we call a response. As we said earlier, body coordination is the harmonious action of organs and systems in response to a change. This response is how we behave. Example. Now, if I was touching something and it was hot, what will happen is when I touch it and it's hot, my brain will say, that's hot, pull your hand away. So when I move my hand away, we would call that a response. Sometimes you see a friend and your friend is about to cross the road and a car is heading towards your friend. You'll shout out to your friend, watch out. That is a response. You see, a response is what we do after we have taken in information from the surrounding. Normally, a response is to try to make our life better and also to try and keep us safe from any danger. Define nerve impulses. The signals that travel through a nerve fiber when information is transmitted throughout the nervous system. Now, our nervous system is quite special. It uses electrical impulses called nerve impulses to send a message from one area to another area. Why do we use electrical impulses? Well, it's very simple. The faster that we respond to something, the better it is. So by sending electrical impulses, we send the message very, very quickly. So the minute we touch something with our feet or touch something with our hand, almost immediately the brain knows what's happening and can effect a response effectively and quickly, so that once again we are safe and out of danger. So what is a nerve impulse? It's an electrical signal sent through the nerve fibers. Pathway in body coordination. Stimulus, sensory organ, coordination center, effector organ, response. This is the main pathway in all body coordination in our body. It has to start with a stimulus from outside the body. The stimulus will be detected by a sensory organ. The sensory organ will send the information to our coordination center, which is usually our brain or spinal cord, which is inside our backbone. Then our coordination center will send a message out to what is called the effector organ, which is usually a muscle or a gland. Then the effector organ will effect a response for us that will basically be what we do because of the stimulus. The importance of body coordination: to ensure the survival of humans and other organisms, to protect the organisms from harm. So the key thing of body coordination is survival and protection. Remember these two key words: survival and protection. Everything we do is revolving around these two key words: survival and protection. So now that we've talked about this coordination system, let's go up to the board and have a look at the nervous system and endocrine system in a bit more detail and with a few examples so that we can work out how everything works together harmoniously. So what we're looking at is called body coordination. Body coordination. Remember, the whole idea of body coordination is the harmonious action of all the organs. So let's start with this. So it is basically organs or systems working harmoniously. So how do they work harmoniously? Let's take a simple example of someone who's eating. So let's draw a stick man here with their mouth, sitting on a chair, hands in front of them, plate of food. Now, if this is a simple example, let's have a look at how the systems are working together so that we get our food and digest it. Firstly, our eyes, using the stimulus of light, detect where the food is. So here we've got the function of the eye. The eye is detecting the food. Now the eye sends the message back to the brain, which then tells the hands to pick the food up. So now your hands get the food. Now once your hands get the food from here goes into the mouth. So here we have the mouth, chewing. Now, once we get into the mouth chewing, the food is going to travel down the body, through the esophagus into the stomach and then the small intestines. So here we have the stomach and intestines doing some digestion. At the same time, we have enzymes being pumped into the system so that the digestive system works better. The blood system is carrying the food around the body. The liver is processing the food that is being absorbed. All of the different parts of our body are working together so that the food enters into our body and then enters into our bloodstream and then ultimately gets to the cell where it's needed for whatever function, whether it's for respiration, making protein, making cell membrane, making hormones, whatever it is. So this is a typical example of what we call harmonious, let me just put this harmonious back up here, harmonious coordination in the body. different parts all working together so that we have a good response. Now let's move on and have a look at the two systems. We have the nervous system and the endocrine system. So let's look at the nervous system first. The nervous system is really built up of two main parts. It's built up of the central coordination center, which is the brain, and what we call the spinal cord. Now, on the spinal cord, we have nerves that go out to all parts of the body, and then they break up and reach every single part of our body, like so. So if a stimulus arrives at any different position, let's say that we have a stimulus over here, what happens is a nerve impulse will be sent through the system like so to the brain, and then the brain can effect a response. And like I said, most responses will come out, travel through a fiber that ultimately goes to an effector, which will be a muscle. So let's have a clear look here. Our nervous system is mainly the brain and the spinal cord, with a whole lot of fibers, nerves that go to every part of our body, every corner of our body, from our toes to the top of our head, to our fingertips, to all the organs in our body, to all the muscles in our body. And then anything stimulus comes in, we send it to the system, the brain. The brain sends out a message to a muscle, and then we do something about it. So stimulus, send the message to the brain, response. Very simple, very fast, very efficient. Now, the other system was the endocrine system. So let's have a look at the endocrine system here. Okay. Now, the endocrine system is a bit trickier because the glands are not in one place. They're spread out throughout our body. So, with the endocrine system, we have a whole bunch. We have one gland up here in our brain, which is called the pituitary. Up here, we have one inside the neck called the thyroid. And then we have several in our main body. We have one here where the pancreas is. We have our kidneys over here. We have one on top of the kidney. And then in the lower region here, we have one in where our sex organs are. So we have many endocrine glands spread out throughout the body, and they each have their different hormones. The pituitary has got hormones like the growth hormone, FSH, oxytocin, all sorts of hormones that control in the body. The thyroid has got thyroxine, which controls the metabolic rate in your body. Pancreas produces insulin, which controls glucose in the body. The kidneys release a famous hormone called adrenaline, which controls energy in the body. The sex organs, well, males have testosterone, females have progesterone. And these are just some of them. There are many more, but these are the important ones that we are going to study in our Form 4 science. So understand about the nervous system and also the endocrine system and how these two systems appear and how they work together. Remember the keys that we said. The nervous system was fast, but a short-term response, whereas the endocrine system was slow but a long-term response. So remember some keys that we were talking about. Let's try some questions. All the following are part of the nervous coordination system except A. Backbone, B. Spinal cord, C. Brain, D. Eye. So think about it. Which one of this is not really involved in receiving stimulus or effecting a response? Have you thought about it? Let's have a look at the answer. Answer A. Backbone. Let's have a look at the next question. What are the two parts of body coordination? Look, we've just had a sketch of this on the board. The two main parts of our body coordinating systems. What are they? Write them down. Remember, they must be written down, no thinking about it. Good, let's have a check. Answer, nervous and endocrine system. Which of the below are part of the nervous coordination to the body? 1. Enable the body to perform activities such as riding the bicycle. 2. Enable the body to detect changes in the environment. 3. Enable the body to receive and respond to stimuli. Which one would be the correct answer? So we've got 3 different ones here. You need to make a selection. Now think about it. Have you made your selection? Let's have a look at the answer. The answer, D. All of them. Enable the body to perform activities like riding, to enable the body to detect changes, and the body to receive and respond to stimuli. Now let's summarize what we've gone through in this lesson. First, remember, body coordination ensures harmonious action. Remember this word, harmonious. It involves organs and systems working together. Remember the pathway involved and the importance of body coordination. The pathway was stimulus, sensory organ, coordination center, effector, response. Why is it important? To keep us safe and help us survive. Remember the nervous system, rapid, short responses, transmission of electrical impulse along the nerve fiber. Endocrine system, slower, longer lasting. Remember secretion and transport of chemical substances. Remember the key definitions. What is a stimulus? An external change or internal change. Remember what a response is, what we do. And remember examples of external stimuli, light, sound, chemicals. Internal stimuli, sugar levels, body temperature. And finally, remember what a nerve impulse is, which is an electrical message sent along a nerve fiber. Remember these key things. These are the questions that commonly come out in examinations. Once again, if you need more questions to practice on, iTTV website, they've got the questions there. Go there, do the questions, do the exam, get a report card, go back, do it again until you get 100% for every single test. That's all the time we have for this lesson. Thank you for watching iTTV.